Hello everybody, Hellcorrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode, 266, I think it is. Alright, today we're going to be talking about the LRM Carrier, long-range missile carrier. Alright, it is a 3.5 mover, has internal combustion engine, well, and 48 points of armor, which is 3 tons. And well, not to be surprised by anything, it carries, well, 3 LRM 20s with 4 tons of ammo. More than enough, pretty much. So you're basically getting 24 shots out of 3, so 8 turns with the 3 launchers. That's a pretty good amount of firepower coming in, a little over 800 battle value, which isn't bad for a support vehicle. Now, it's not going to win any long-range races. It's a tortoise, basically. It's being able to fire out the 3 LRMs. Once the bay is dry, you slowly crawl your way off the table. And the only really drawback of this vehicle is it has no turret, so you have to physically move. If somebody gets out of your arc, you got to move, then you basically consider moving. And you got that +1 pip on your die roll because you moved. Now, if this thing was designed with a turret, and it could sit in its little hidey hole someplace and just rotate the turret around, one facing at a time, per turn, then yeah, it'd be a lot more usable in the game. But, it is what it is. Now, I like the LRM Carrier for what it brings to the table. Yeah, you can get, for the same battle value, some light and medium mechs to do similar roles. And lay down some fire, being able more maneuverable, but when it comes to just being able to sit behind a level 1 hill hidden and just start raining down death onto somebody, it does the job. It's not spectacular, but it does the job. Pretty much the tactic is, I like to use these. They're actually fairly good in city fights. They're good in semi-open terrain situations where they can hide, like I said, hide behind something and not be seen. Their best bet is using some vehicles like Pegasi or something like that, and put a kind of a skill on them with indirect fire specials or something of that nature. So the whole job of the vehicle is just go around and pick a target and then have the LRM carriers rain down death on them. Because if you have a lance of these, that is 4 of them. That's 12 LRM 20s. That's a lot of firepower coming down range, especially if you're facing off against, let's say, an Atlas comes trundling along, and it may have a 1 movement modifier, and these guys are hiding behind a hill, so you got theirs, and they unleash their rain of death. There have been times, I've been in circumstances like this many times, about half the missiles might hit. Launchers, then you're going to get probably average of 12. So let's say, of the 6 times 12, yeah, that's some pretty good firepower. That's going to be ripping off armor on, say, an Atlas or any other slow-moving mech or vehicle, for that matter. You can pretty much rip off the front slope of, let's say, a demolisher that happens to pop out someplace, and you just hit them. You can kill a demolisher, or say a Shrek PPC carrier or something of that nature, in one salvo from these guys if you have a lance of them. And done it many times myself. Now, there may be other options. I'm a big fan of the Hunter tank, which has just a single LRM. So imagine a Hunter tank with a single LRM 20, and it's a 5.8 mover, so it can displace better. So that was work in conjunction with LRM carriers, work really good. So you have them working together where you have the Hunter tanks being able, the ones that displace and are able to move up, and then these guys will follow on with their movement. So it's kind of like leapfrogging if you have to go on the offensive. It's really good for taking out stationary targets like fortifications and stuff, where you can move up behind a hill, rain down death on the thing, take out let's say a missile turret or something of that nature, and then move on to the next one and just kind of like peel back an onion. Works good. One thing that these things, like I said, they can do 8 salvos and then they're going dry. It wouldn't hurt to have like a supply carrier behind them to resupply them if you're doing a campaign style game. So, which, you know, you have to work with it, but it is possible. Now, there are a few, not very many actually, it was just kind of interesting. There's a few of the variants of this little guy. There's the 3055 upgrade from Quicksell, and this of the Federated Commonwealth. All right, this one upgrades it with ferrofibrous armor. Okay, so you go in slightly more, you're getting what, 50 something points of armor, not much. And then they drop the engine down. Yeah, and it's like suddenly it's a slow moving 2-3. It's basically a slow moving bunker. That's all. Missile pod. That's pretty much all it is. And then it has Artemis fire control system and a C3 slave. Okay, so but it comes in at less battle value because, you know, it's slower. Now the interesting thing about that, like I said, that one would be a slow moving pillbox or missile pod. So if you need to slowly move it to a different location, you can. So it's more or less, I feel that was more or less designed for base defense. So it's like, okay, I need these guys over here to reinforce this sector, slowly move them over there and park them. Because they're not going to be any good on the offensive because they're so slow. So that's more of a defensive mechanism, if anything. And, well, with the C3 slave and Artemis, you're upping the number of missiles it's probably going to hit. And then if you have a vehicle that's a fast-moving vehicle or mech, let's say a Jenner or something of that nature, where you got an 8 or 11-7 or an 8-12-8, or heck, even a Spider. That would be wouldn't be bad. Take out one of the medium lasers and give it a C3 slave, and then you have somebody. Obviously, if you got an LRM Carrier Lance, one of the launchers would have to be taken out, ripped out. So one of them will have 2 LRM 20s, and then have a master with it. And then you're going to either add more armor to it, or you're going to have more ammo. One of the two. So probably more. One of each, possibly. There. I said it. Now, here we go. All hail the word of Blake. Comes out in 3064. This one carries around an XL fusion engine to boost the speed up. You know, yeah, it's nothing worse than having a 4.6 moving LRM carrier. Has a C3I, so, oh yeah, that's an improved C3 system. So what's not to like about that? Has Artemis fire control, so you have more missiles hitting when you do hit. So yeah, that's pretty nasty. And I've faced off against these things before, and they rip things up really quickly. Even if it's the word of Blake, it's like everything the word of Blake has high-tech stuff on it. I'll just tell you that much. It's pretty nasty. But it comes in at a price. You're coming in roughly almost 200 more. Actually, a little over 200 more in battle value. So it comes at a cost. So there. But odds are you're going to hit more with those weapon systems while they do hit before you run dry. So they're going to do more damage. All right. Now, here are the FedCom, then the Draconians, or during the FedCom Civil War, we've got the Draconians combined. Comes out with the LRM Carrier. Not a big fan of MRMs, but you can get more bang for your buck per se. Not a great range. You're losing that because you're basically dead fire weapon systems. But it carries around a C3 slave, allows it for taking advantage of targeting data. All right, so once again, you got to have somebody running around with not LRM 20s, but MRM 30 launchers. So with a C3 slave, yes, the range is short, but if you got somebody spotting for you and they hit, they will rip things apart. I know I've been in games with these things and they are nasty. So kill them fast. That's all I got to say. But it does come in. It's just about 50 points less in battle value. So they don't hit as well per se, but if you got a spotter out there, that kind of decreases the range. And if you're running like skill sets, it's like you put Sandblaster on one of these things. Ooh, ouch, nasty. And then we got in the end, yes, the Dark Ages. Primitive version. This one comes out way down the line here. It's like it's got advanced fire control system, 3 LRM 15 launchers, and 5 tons of ammo to keep it in the fight. Okay, I'm not really opposed to that because we'll get to that, but not bad at all. So I like the concept of putting LRM 15s instead of the LRM 20s. You can change, and it comes in over about 200 less battle value, which is not nothing to be sneezed at. It's still kind of slow, but it is what it is. Now, if you want to talk about some modifications, this is one I always like to do. Is you look at the, like I said, remove the 3 LRM 15s or 20s and drop them down to LRM 15s. And I've actually upgraded it to a turret system, and then you can increase the speed to a 4.6, taking that tonnage savage, and then you now have a slightly faster 4.6 moving LRM carrier with a turret. Makes it more versatile. Yes, you're not doing as much damage, but the versatility is increased. And then you're coming in, well, it's a little bit more coming in at battle value, about 80, I think it was, 80 more. But I like the idea of having something that's a little more versatile. So it's able to be used more in the attack role, and you also can upgrade the armor slightly. Instead of having the 48, you can kick it up a little over 100. So you can take a few hits along the time you're in the campaign there. And then with LRM 15s, yeah, the damage isn't great, but you have capability with a turret of rotating and increasing your arc. So you don't have to physically, if you park it, you can rotate that turret around, take care of threats if necessary, and then rain down, and then you have to displace and move forward or something, you can leapfrog a little faster than the little 3.5 moving. That one extra pip. The mods are not any different for movement, but that one extra 4 can make the difference between just having to cruise forward or doing flank speed, that type of thing. So that's kind of like how I look at it. Now, if you went with, let's say, a fusion engine on board, you could maybe put, instead of increasing the speed, put like Artemis fire control on them. But I really don't see it being necessary. I would say it better if you had a C3 system to go with, put 1 ton towards a C3 and maybe some more ammo if you want to go that route. So there are so many options to go with this thing. It is a decent system. It has some options to play with if you want to change it. So for your campaigns, it's a highly used platform across the inner sphere. Been produced throughout the Succession War, so there's plenty of options out there. There's probably, really, to be honest, there's probably a lot of different planetary defense forces that have multiple different versions of this. You can even, I've done this one where drop one of the LRM launchers and replace it with an SRM launcher. So yeah, so now you have an SRM-6 for up close defensive capability, a ton of ammo to go with it, or even use it for dropping smoke in front of you, for you if you're trying to displace out of the area. So options, options, options. All right, that's the LRM Carrier. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.